Hey guys, it's James here, the Purposeful Millionaire, hoping that you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. I have the privilege and the pleasure of working with a lot of different people, including some youth. And the person that I have with me today is someone who is graduating from college on his way to grad school. And he has latched onto me and I've latched onto him. And he is a future purposeful millionaire. The whole theme of today's talk is to let people know that it's never too early to start the wealth creation process. And it's never too early to start working on living a fully purposeful life. I know that for me, I'm grateful for every single year that I'm here and alive and thriving and improving and increasing my net worth and my purposefulness journey. But at the end of the day, what I like the most is getting older. Getting older, I get wiser. I have a wider breadth of experiences. My subject matter expertise in my requisite areas in business increases, in my perspective, on an exponential level annually. And fortunately, too, my financial outlook is improving every single year, too. And it's certainly a much better life than when I was in my 20s, like this young man who I'm going to talk to today. So, Jolito Rivera, I wanted to tell you that it gets better every single year, particularly when you have money, my friend. I mentor Jolito, and he is an outstanding student. He is on a wonderful path. He texts me, he emails me, he calls me to help him in the decision-making process about where he wants his life to actually go. And wealth creation has been something that's been very, very purposeful for him in terms of his career selection and following his passion in life. And a full disclaimer for you guys, Jolito and I are from the same hometown. He is my primo. Hola, ¿qué tal, primo? He's my cousin from Lynchburg, Virginia. And so glad to have him here. And Jolito, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, I'm currently a political science major here at Coastal Carolina. I'm from Lynchburg, Virginia, as you said. I have the desire to attend in law school. So George Washington was a step towards law school. In the decision-making process of going to law school, I couldn't quite put a finger on where exactly I wanted to go, but I knew I had a desire to do public service from how I grew up, the rural area. I wanted to do something to give back to the community. And while taking my courses in political science, I realized that I wanted to engage in policy making at some point of my life. The initial goal of going to law school was corporate law, but also want to play a part with public service as well. So that's what drove me to want to go to George Washington for public policy. Come from a single parent home. I went to Heritage High School, just like James, home of the Pioneers. I'm 21, and James has helped me make a lot of critical decisions and putting my life in a better predicament about a year and a half ago. I played football when I first came to Coastal, and I realized that I had to give up that dream of playing football to focus on my academic life. And from that point forward, everything just started going up. I've been published in an academic journal here at Coastal. I'm president of a nonprofit organization here at Coastal called a Bevy. I went to Norway for an international festival with my peers. It was 106 countries. It was like traveling to 106 countries just without the jet lag from traveling from all those countries. And just hearing, the topic was discrimination. So hearing other people's views on, their discrimination and what they went through was very humbling. In America, I think we take a lot of things for granted that we don't realize that there's other severe problems going on in the rest of the world.
Absolutely.
So I think I touched on enough about myself.
Hey, you touched on a lot. One of the things that you did talk about is, your changing environment, exposing yourself to, Scandinavian countries, getting out of the United States, getting out of Virginia, getting out of Lynchburg. And certainly you have begun that journey. I remember for me, between medical school and law school, I actually took several months off and went to probably 15 different countries backpacking, not just because I wanted to take a break, but because I wanted to expand my horizons and how I saw the world. And I'm still in contact with some of the people who I met on those journeys across many different countries between that, really wonderful time in my life of transitioning between leaving medicine and moving over to law. So changing your environment, getting out to see the world, getting to know people, not just, getting on some tour bus or doing whatever, but experiencing the food, the culture, the mores, the language, all those wonderful things is what really makes us a better person at the end of the day, because it's that exposure which opens your eyes to how other people live and how we wish to live in our world. And I find myself, even as an American citizen, but somebody who travels quite a bit, bringing some of those cultural things into my home, some of those value systems into my home. And I feel like it makes me a more interesting and more enlightened person. Now, I want to go back to some of our conversations. And one of the things that you'll always hear me say is that in order to earn more, you must learn more. And we have talked about your career path and where you want to be and what you want to do. And one of the things for me that I knew is that by being a doctor or by being a lawyer, I would have a very good lifestyle created for myself on a salary perspective. It wasn't until I really understood how wealth creation worked in terms of investing opportunities, in terms of holding equity in different companies, in terms of partnering with the right people in order to increase my net worth, which is my circle of trust that I'm around today with high net worth people and ultra high net worth people. And we work to really continue to bring best practices into each other's lives and opportunities so that our wealth levels are increasing. Now, talk to me about, what led you to want to see beyond the horizons of the hometown in which you were raised.
So, Lynchburg, it's a little small town. It's really hard as far as, wanting to be a lawyer and things of that nature to prosper in such a small area. And there's a constraint on different perspectives. I feel that everyone, a lot of people relate. A lot of people are alike within Lynchburg. So I came down to South Carolina, not just for the nice weather, but also from the fact that it's a different perspective. It's a different type of people. It's a different location. And coming down here and engaging with my peers down here is a lot different from up north. They're more, down south. You got that southern hospitality.
Now, let me assure you, Lynchburg is still the South.
Yeah, Lynchburg is still it's still the South. But down south is a little more different.
South versus the South. I get
it. Yeah. So that's what led me to, I wanted to get out of Lynchburg to see what the rest of the world was like. And I think that was a great decision, because I got out of my comfort zone. And I think a lot of times people get comfortable and complacent with their current situations. And I wanted to get out. I wanted to know more. I wanted to learn more. I just didn't learn more from going to coastal Carolina. I learned more from the people around me, the different ethnicities. All of those things played a part in my learning experience.
It's really wonderful to gain exposure and to have access to different places and different experiences. And you've certainly set out to do that. And I really have witnessed the decision-making process changing you in terms of what you want out of life since you and I talked. Now, I've always had people in my life to whom I've aspired to be like. I have friends who are, farther along than I am, who are older than I am, who have more experience in certain industries and areas than I do. And also, quite frankly, some of whom have higher net worths than me. And one thing that I know for sure is that we should always be surrounding ourselves with people who can help lift us to a higher level. For you, talk to me about some of the decisions that you have made and changed over the past year or year and a half of you and I getting to know each other better and working together in terms of charting the pathway for your future.
So before I met James, I didn't strategically plan as I should have. When things came to mind, I kind of just did it. I didn't think of other alternatives and things like that. But talking to James, he made me think of how to better strategize. And because of him, when I first met him, I said, I'm going to law school. I know I'm going to law school. I'm going straight to law school. There's no other questions about it. And then I spoke with him. And I did my research, and I realized there was more to it than just say I want to go to law school. You have to choose the right law school for you, the location, what are you going to get out of law school? And then you also have to reevaluate yourself to compete at these law schools, because law school is not something you just can go to and just, it's not like undergrad where you can just go and you can struggle a little bit along the way and pick yourself up. You have to go into law school strong-minded and ready to compete starting out the gates. And when I thought about all those things, I realized that, maybe I'm not ready to compete for law school right now, but going to grad school will sure prepare me to compete at that level of education. Not to say that grad school is any easier or whatnot, but I knew that public policy was an interest of mine, something I was passionate about, and it resembles the law. So it was like testing the waters to know, okay, how well can I perform in law school? It's all writing, intensive writing, critical analyzing skills. I have to embrace statistics. I have a weakness. I've always ran away from math. So I have to embrace that now. So I felt like graduate school was the perfect place for me to build my professional skills as well as my writing skills, analytical skills, to go straight into law school with the upper hand.
That's exactly right. And you're moving into more of an academic, rigorous environment. You were at Coastal Carolina. You're heading to, where are you heading to?
George Washington.
George Washington University. And then after George Washington, you're probably headed to, a top 20 or top 10 law school. Or
looking at Columbia.
Yeah, one of the Ivy League law schools, which really is going to set you in place for changing your environment, getting exposed to living in the big city, getting exposed to the culture, the refinement, the arts, some of the opportunities that are out there. And it's going to expand your horizons, moving from Lynchburg, Virginia to South Carolina, from South Carolina to Washington, D.C., and then from Washington, D.C. to New York. And you'll understand that each phase along the way, you're going to take nuggets and tidbits that will change you and lift you up as a person. You'll be exposed to more culture. You'll be exposed to so much more than if you had stayed behind and gone to a local college and stayed at a local law school. Your world is quickly changing, and you're making decisions to effectuate that quickly changing world and to bring it into your life, because that's the life that you want to create for yourselves. Now, the bigger the city that you get into, you realize that you're just a small fish in a very, very large pond. And it takes a whole lot to make a name for yourself in big cities.
Indeed.
But if anybody can do it, you can. And I think that somebody on your path has the ability to keep this Purposeful Millionaire plan in play so that, you can not only have local presence, but global presence one day. So I'm looking forward to seeing the new Johnny Cochran, also known as Lolito Rivera.
Johnny.
Absolutely. So, one of the things about changing your academic network, which is what you are doing, you're moving to higher tier institutions, is that you're going to come into exposure and come into friendship with students and professors whose academic rigor and whose reputations globally are even more powerful and can expand your network and help you to get to where you want to be. Talk to me about, what do you envision this process being like, meeting these new people? Who's going to come into your life? And how is that going to look? Because I can tell you right now, I've got some really amazing people who've done some amazing things in their lives, and they're my friends. And that's a virtue of the academic institutions that I selected.
Mm-hmm. Well, when I went to admitted students day at George Washington, for starters, and when I got there, I was envisioning people that were going to be my age, maybe. So it wasn't that much of excitement. I was looking for experience. But when I got there, it actually surprised me that everyone was 30 years or higher, already working at the Pentagon, already working on Capitol Hill, already working at these high places. So when I saw these people that have already reached a level of success, to their abilities, I was like, wow, like this is going to be a great network. These are going to be determined people. Because when you reach a certain age, 30 years old, you reach another level of determination. And to be around this age group that is determined, because there's no more games at that age, I knew that I would too pick up those same habits. I mean, I'm already determined. I study every day. Anybody who actually at Coastal Carolina, I will outwork anyone here.
You're improving your disciplines and your habits, grades. You've never been really lazy, but you are working harder.
Well, actually,
I'll always be hard on you about everything, because I want the best for you.
Yes, James always tells me I'm not working hard enough, not working hard enough, and I
Or not.
promise you.
Most people are not working hard enough. They don't understand. The success formula is idea plus plan plus execution equals success. Now,
Mhm,
everybody has an idea. Ideas are a dime a dozen.
mhm,
Everybody has an idea. But who can really put that idea into a plan? An
mhm.
effective plan that is flexible and nimble that can lead that person to actual execution. You have put
Correct.
the idea into place. You're working on your plan and you're actually executing. But executing is where about 90% of the work actually has to take place. And it can get really rough sometimes because you can start your dream and then realize, oh man, this is a lot harder than I thought it was. But that's when you go back to your plan. Well, the plan is flexible and it's there for a reason, but it's
Mhm,
not static. It's not
mhm.
static. You go back to it, you revisit it, you make it better, and you keep marching forward. And that's what it's all about. So I am very proud of you and where you're headed. And you are 21 right now.
Yes.
So I always believe in, writing down my plans, coming up with a vision board, telling myself where I want to be financially X amount of years from now.
Mhm.
Where do you see yourself 5 years out at 26? And where do you see yourself 10 years out at 31?
See, five years out from now, I see myself coming upon my last year of law school, with job offers from many places, and then 10 years from now, well then, 10 years from now, I see myself. I think I know I'll have $1 million in 10 years. Working hard. Probably a partner, a top law firm in 10 years. I believe. I believe I'll do that with the amount of knowledge and education that I'm about to endure over these next 6, 5 years. Um, wow, that's a long time to think
Yes,
about.
it's a long time. It happens in just a blink. And
Yeah.
so, you'll be on the partnership track to becoming a partner. At a large law firm, it takes close to 10 years to become a partner. So that's a really, really long way to go. But what you do in the interim is while you're working on a daily basis, you continue to live frugally, live below your means. Don't, in the words of Warren Buffett, never lose money. And rule number 2 is if you do lose money, refer back to rule number 1, which is never lose money. So it's so impressive to see you putting this plan into place about frugal living, conscientiously working on where you want to go in life, and also getting your mindset in order, because I've seen some changes in you take place where when you are making decisions or talking to me, you're more prepared when you're talking to me because I don't have a lot of time. And the thing about having a mentor is that, you always want to go to that person with your questions organized and getting the most out of that person in as little time as possible, because that person's got to move on to other things and other relationships, even though that person wants to help you as much as possible. So I'm seeing more methodicalness coming out of you. I'm seeing a harder worker coming out of you. And I'm also seeing you talk about your vision for the future, and you actually slow down in your thought process right now. So you are going to be putting into play, this thing, which is the 52
Purposeful Millionaire.
for creating a life of wealth and happiness now. And it's totally possible because you and I we're from the same area, from the rural southern foothills of Virginia, and there were not a lot of highly financially successful role models. Now I've gotten to the point where I'm not really looking for people who look like me. I'm looking for myself to be my personal best. So I've got to be my own mentor. I've got to be my own supporter, and I've got to be my own cheerleader throughout this process as I architect my life to get to where I want to be. And I can tell you, I'm 36, you're 21. I've got you beat by 15 years. But even though I work longer hours than you, I'm having more fun than I ever imagined, and I'm blessed with more opportunities than ever imagined. So we just got a message right now from somebody who said, Lisa Marie Walters, she said that something's going wrong with playing the video. But I think we've got some other viewers right now, and they're confirming that the video is fine for them. So,
Okay.
Lisa, Walter, try to stay connected or re-log back in. But we do have some other viewers who are witnessing the broadcast going well right now. So, any closing words or advice for your fellow peers who are in that 20-something range right now? You've completely changed over the past several months, and I've really enjoyed witnessing that metamorphosis. Any words of wisdom, knowledge bombs you want to drop on your peers?
Don't give up, and even though you may feel that you're working hard now, there's always more to be done.
Yes.
Definitely.
There's
So I would definitely tell them to keep that in mind.
Yes. Yeah. Well, hey, Julito, it's been a pleasure. I enjoyed
Same
talking
here.
with you. You are a future purposeful millionaire who is going to be putting this book into play in his life, which drops on Tuesday,
April
April
25th.
25th, just a few days away on Amazon.com. So
Save the date.
you're going to help us make the Bad Boy bestseller, and it's going to help you take your wealth and your happiness journey to the next level and beyond. This book is my memoir. It is my testament to the world that if people like you and me can do it, other people can do it as well. So
Absolutely.
signing off, guys, wishing you a happy end to your workday. Hopefully you're on the East Coast. I'm in Central Time right now. So folks are almost to the end of their workday, and I'm wishing everybody well in a purposeful, wealthy journey. Talk to you later.